Well, good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Sunday, September the 29th, 2024. I'm just going a little bit of a different way here today, a bit of a shorter walk because it's absolutely freezing, it's wet, it's windy. Welcome to Victoria. This is what we deal with. Yesterday was absolutely beautiful, 23 or 24 degrees, whatever it was, not a cloud in the sky. And today it's absolutely horrendous. Speaking about yesterday though, I mean, geez, Sydney Swans in the grand final. I mean, congratulations to the Brisbane Lions, but what a pathetic performance by the Sydney Swans. I know this is a boxing channel, but you got to mention it. I mean, they finished on top by a mile, had a nice easy run into the grand final, and for I think the second time in 3 years, they've been absolutely embarrassed on the biggest stage. But again, congratulations to the Brisbane Lions. I'm pretty happy. I won a little bit of money on it, so I had a good day anyway. All right, on to the boxing. Firstly, apologies for yesterday's video. If you're looking for it during the day, I don't know whether it was because of the traffic on the internet yesterday. I don't know, but it took literally till about 5 o'clock in the afternoon to actually fully upload. I don't know what was going on, whether it was just my internet or the internet gods were not smiling at me yesterday. I don't know, but anyway, see if we can do a little bit better today. And if you're looking at yesterday's video after that time, well, you wouldn't have even noticed it went up late. But anyway, on to today's boxing. Yesterday I commented on Oscar De La Hoya's clapback Thursday. It's always a bit of fun. He has I'm sure that's a highlight of his week. But yesterday we saw the Eddie Hearn version. Now I'm not quite sure what we'll call Eddie's version, but I thought because Eddie was obviously the main target of his little video yesterday, and he had a fair bit to say about Eddie's handling of Anthony Joshua and all the rest. He said it was I think the worst managing or promoting job he's actually ever seen. But Eddie came back with, well, you got to see, it's probably, you'll find it online there somewhere, but pretty much along the lines of, yeah, well, this is your one chance of the week where you actually look happy, where inside you're bursting, or I can't remember the exact words, but pretty much along the lines of, well, you got this fake video going to show how perceivably happy you are, but in reality, inside, we know that's not the case. I did say that Golden Boy had no fighters left. He's being sued again. I'll get to that again in a minute. I know I covered it yesterday, but there's been a few new proceedings. But yeah, it was Eddie's version of his little clapback. Well, I suppose you could call it clapback Friday for Eddie Hearn. But is this what we want to see from the leading promoters in the game? I mean, we all find it amusing, and I know these guys are probably professional behind closed doors, but it does pose the question. We often talk about the boxers acting like little kids. What about the people that actually run the sport, the promoters? Look, yeah, it's who knows what goes on. The only thing I'll say, I'm pretty sure that wasn't it only just a few months ago that Oscar and Eddie actually did a sit down, and they were interviewed together and said they've had some differences in the past, but they were going to work together and all get along. And obviously they both work with Turkey LL Sheikh, so it's a little bit puzzling to me. It seems like they're all at each other 1 minute, and then they're all happy the next minute, and then they're online hanging shit on each other the minute after that. So I don't know, but it's amusing anyway, isn't it? And fans of both, I don't really like the way all this carry on goes on, but anyway, provides good content for the social media and YouTube pages out there, doesn't it? So speaking of Eddie Hearn, he had a fighter on yesterday, Sandy Ryan. Now I'm not sure whether you've sort of been across this, but she lost a decision to Michaela Mailer, lost her WBO welterweight title. Now that was in New York. Now what actually happened before the fight, which is just totally bizarre, it sort of brought back Tonya Harding vibes, is that she was on her way to the stadium. So she walked outside the hotel and was greeted by an assailant, if that's what you want to call them, who ran at her and threw a can of red paint over her. So I'm not quite sure what this was all about. Of course, Sandy Ryan first of all blamed Michaela Mayer's team, which would probably make sense. I don't think, as strange of a city that New York is, I don't think people just run around and throw cans of red paint on each other, especially those that are on their way to a world title fight. So Sandy Ryan, who lost that decision, as I said, to Michaela Mayer, I think it was a majority decision. So she's of course blamed Michaela Mayer's team. Mayers has rejected those claims, said she had nothing to do with it, but geez, where there's smoke there's fire, surely. And of course the other thing is Sandy Ryan, having lost the belt, of course, blames that on her loss. Now, well, I understand it would be a little bit of a shock to the system, and again, I haven't been in a world title fight of that magnitude, of course, but I'm thinking if you walked outside your hotel and someone threw some paint at you, you'd be a little bit rattled. Let's not sugarcoat it. You would be a little bit rattled, but surely it's not really going to affect your performance that much. I don't know, but she said it did, and I'm not quite sure. I think the New York police are investigating it, but it's just bizarre. If it is the case, if Michaela Mayer, if one of her team has actually done it, that is truly very, very strange. That really is bizarre, that would be the case. I'm not quite sure what she would be looking to achieve by doing it. I mean, think about it. You're in a big world title fight. It's only probably 3 hours or something, 3 or 4 hours or something before, maybe 3 hours or something before you're going to step in the ring. You're on the way to the hotel, to the fight from your hotel, and you direct someone to throw paint at your opponent. I just don't understand what it gains, but it is, again, it's strange. But in this world of boxing, it's never strange enough, is it? No matter what happens, it's like, yeah, well, what else is new? We've had everything else in the sport. Why not people throwing paint at each other? And again, the question gets posed: what actually happens if that is the case? I mean, I think we deserve a rematch. It was close enough; they probably deserve a rematch anyway. But does Michaela Mayer get the same penalties as Tonya Harding did, or just anyway? It's just crazy. But yeah, so Eddie Hearn, and again with Eddie Hearn, the poor bugger, he's not having a great year, is he? Last week was Joshua, yesterday was Sandy Ryan. Not a great year for the Eddie Hearn stable, but at least he's got Oscar De La Hoya to keep him amused and occupied anyway. So another Eddie Hearn fighter, well, sort of Eddie Hearn fighter, our man Jai Opetaia. Now, of course, he's in action on October the 12th against Jack Massey. Now, there is word that Turki Al Sheikh has said that he wants to put Jai Opetaia in the ring with the winner of Zurdo Ramirez and Christian Billum-Smith. So that is really a really good sign. The only problem with that is that the IBF have said they want Jai to fight his mandatory, and what is his name? It's just escapes me. He's a German-born Turk. Now, what is his name? It's just gone straight over my head. Sorry about that, but the IBF have directed that Jai has to fight him. He's the IBF mandatory by January 20th. So the word is maybe they might put Jai in with this number one challenger on the Usyk and Fury 2 undercard, and then if he gets past that, then they would match him up with Billum-Smith and Ramirez, the winner of that fight, on the next Riyadh card after that. So that's exciting news, and I'm sure Jai Opetaia doesn't really want to fight this guy, and I still can't remember his name. Put it in the comments if you can remember. I'm sure he doesn't want to fight him, but I don't think he wants to repeat also of what happened with Breidis when he was stripped of that IBF belt for not defending against, again, the name escapes me. Who was it that he was supposed to fight that he didn't fight? Anyway, it was his other mandatory. He got stripped. Of course, fought Breidis, won the title back, and all was good. But I don't think he wants a repeat of that. So I'm pretty sure he'll get that fight out. He did make mention, Jai, that he definitely wants to fight on the Fury Usyk 2 card, which is only a couple of months after this fight. So you've got to give it to Jai for keeping busy. He's from him and Tim Zhu are sort of cut from the same cloth, aren't they? Come on, buddy. So yeah, let's hope that that comes about. And of course, I spoke yesterday of the Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia situation. I saw a clip of Bill Haney, and what was he saying? He was saying something, well, look, he did make a good point about Oscar De La Hoya. He said, why did Golden Boy get a $1 million payout when technically they were to blame for the whole situation? Now, I'm not, you know, obviously they didn't say to Ryan Garcia, you know, we don't want you to make weight, we want you to fail your drugs test, all the rest of it. But for some reason, and I must admit I'm the same, I can't work out why they got a $1 million payout, being the promoters. But as I said yesterday with Ryan Garcia, he's been sanctioned by the powers that be. He has been fined, he's been suspended. I'm not quite sure what happens after that. And the big question, of course, is this: what happens to Devin Haney and his reputation and his career, even if he goes through with this and he's successful? If he does get another payout, he sues Garcia for maybe future earnings, past earnings, I don't know, pain, suffering, you name it. In America, anything's possible. But what happens to him as far as his career goes? Do you think promoters are going to want to work with him? Let's face it, at the moment he hasn't really got a promoter, has he? He sort of jumps from promoter to promoter, and he obviously has worked with Eddie Hearn, who he's had a recent stoush with. So what happens to him? Do opponents want to fight him? Do champions want to defend their belts against him? Really rolling the dice and playing with fire, if you ask me, with his career. And it's okay for Bill Haney, his dad, to say in front of the camera, this is the Devin Haney era. Well, I'm not quite sure what the Devin Haney era is going to entail, because if promoters and maybe fighters don't want to work with him, let's face it, he's hard work. He's hard work probably getting the fight together. He's hard work in the lead up to the fight. Now we don't know what we're going to get if he loses the fight. It's just a real roll of the dice for Devin Haney, and playing with fire 100%. So I'm sure his dad, who's also his manager as well, has got you know, things in tow and maybe thinks he won't be affected. But geez, boxing is a very, very fickle industry, and I'm not quite sure what effect this will have. And just what's almost the unwritten code, isn't it? You don't lose a fight and then take your opponent to court and sue them. It's look, there's always a first, there's always a precedence. And Bill Haney actually did make mention of Bob Arum, that he'd been sued by Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Terence Crawford. But yeah, I think this is a little bit different to what's happening here. Bob Arum was sued, and I'm sure he's not the only one. I think Don King and a few others have been sued as well. And I'm sure Oscar, they've all been sued at some stage by disgruntled fighters, and that's just part of the game. But in this instance, to lose a fight, now I understand too that on the flip side that Devin Haney's probably got, well, he has got every right to be pissed that his opponent came in heavy. I just think he's dirty because he got played. Because Ryan Garcia has also responded and said, well, so what? I came in overweight. I paid the penalty. I still don't think he's admitting to testing for drugs, but he said, look, I've got my sentence, if you will, for what happened with the PEDs. What did he say? He just thinks Devin Hook suffers from left hook syndrome, which is a great comeback. It really is. But yeah, so I'm just, look, if I'm being honest, I hope that this gets swept under the carpet. I really do. And I don't like people getting away with doing wrongs, but I just think Ryan Garcia has copped everything that he's required to cop, and I think we just get on with it. Devin Haney, just get another big fight, win another belt in the ring, and that's probably the best revenge you have, and then maybe see what happens after that. So the last thing I'll talk about, guys, some good news on the amateur front. Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, has been appointed chair of the World Boxing Amateur Association, I suppose you would call it. And this is good news for the Olympics, because it means that they might be well on their way to being included in future Olympics. I don't think anyone ever wanted boxing not to be part of it. They just wanted it governed properly. And IEBA, the International Boxing Association, just made an absolute meal of it for so many years, so much controversy, so much corruption. And I think it's great they've got a stand-up guy like Triple G now running the show. And I think they're up to 45 countries. I think there was just announced that Kazakhstan, of course, Triple G's home country, has entered the World Boxing it's not the organisation, it's just called World Boxing. It's the amateur, the new amateur ruling body. So he's going to run that, and as I said, Kazakhstan's going to be part of that. The interesting thing I did note, it's great that Australia, New Zealand and the other Oceania countries have joined, but there's some notable exceptions so far. The main ones are in there: USA, Great Britain. In Asia though, I did see that China and Japan haven't joined yet. In South America, I think it was Cuba hasn't joined, and they're obviously a major player in amateur boxing. Mexico's not part of it. I didn't see Northern Ireland in there either as far as Europe goes, but look, I'm sure they'll all come about. It's relatively new. I think as more and more countries get involved, I think you'll find that every country that's probably worth their salt will join. But 45 countries at the moment, part of it, the World Boxing Amateur Organisation, and let's hope that gets on the straight and narrow. The Olympic Committee are happy with everything, the way it's going, and we have future tournaments that are controversy free. So guys, look, this is a really shit day here in Mount Macedon. It's cold, wet, windy, as you can probably see at the moment. So I'm going to put the camera away and get home, get dry, and get on with the day and work out what the hell I'm going to do in the off season now that the footy is over. It's always a really hard transition period after the grand final, and I'll probably just sit around and sulk for a couple of weekends and then find something else to do. But anyway guys, that is it for this Sunday. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.